What's going on, Kings? It's Keefe. In this video, we're going over 5 things that make men weak. Now, before we get into that, hit the subscribe button and bell icon. This channel is all about helping you level up and become that high-value winner that you were born to be. Now, let's get started. Now, before we get into the list of 5, I want to briefly explain my definition and my criteria for what makes a weak man. And in this context, we're talking about things that basically limit your ability to be on your purpose as a man and to handle everything that is involved in that being obstacles and staying focused and having the courage to pursue your goals. And we're also talking about things that lower your self-respect and the perception others have of you as a man. Now, with that out of the way, let's get on to number 1. So the number 1 thing that makes men weak is women. Booty, ass, whatever you want to call it. Basically, men's inability to control their horniness. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with loving sex and admiring beautiful women. I think every guy does that. But what we're talking about here is you're completely out of control and enslaved by them. This is the biggest weakness you will see from most men. And here's the thing. If you can't say no to something, which most guys can't say no to girls in really any way, you are a slave to that thing. Think about a man you probably know who's in a relationship right now who has voluntarily made himself the submissive partner in the relationship. He's like got no frame, no control. He just does whatever she says. He has to ask permission to hang out with his friends or to use the TV. Does that sound like a slave to you? It sounds like a man who definitely can't say no, and it sounds like a weak man to me. Then there's also the guys who crave intimacy so much that they'll spend all their hard-earned money on OnlyFans. Or you got the guys who have absolutely no self-control, and so they watch porn all day, or they can't handle their horniness, so when they're on Instagram, you go look at some Instagram models' comments, and it's just a bunch of horny guys leaving messages that make themselves just look like weak and beneath this other person that they're communicating with. My criteria that I already mentioned when it comes to making you a weak man, okay, is any of this stuff I mentioned helping you on your purpose? Is supplicating and being submissive and not having any control over your own frame in life and leaving these horny comments, is that helping your self-respect? Is that helping you achieve what you're here to be in life? Do you look like a man when you're doing it? No, you don't, is the answer to all of them. So stop doing it, okay? And this isn't about knocking women. Like, I love women, and I'm sure every guy watching loves women. This is about the men and their behavior in relation to women, which is not helpful in them getting what they want out of this. Like, most of these guys are trying to be attractive to women, and they're just making themselves look awful. They're losing the interest of these women. So just stop doing this, because you're making yourself look weak and you're not getting anything out of it. The second thing that makes men weak is the inability to control their emotions. If you cannot manage your emotions, you're not going to be able to accomplish anything major. Think about how easy it is for you to be controlled by them. Think about how fear will make people do crazy things, or desperation will cause them to make bad decisions. Or think about somebody who's so angry that they can't control themselves. If you've ever watched The Godfather, what do you think about Sonny Corleone? He acts like this big, bad, tough guy. Like, he's this like all badass guy. He's supposed to take over the family and all this kind of stuff. When Vito Corleone dies, but he can't control his anger. And so he looks tough because he's got all this anger, but then that anger ends up getting him killed because he can't control his rage. And so he's very easily fooled, and he's set up, and he gets put into this trap, and he ends up getting himself killed because he can't control his emotions. Just like with women, if you can't control your emotions, you are a slave to them. And then look how this slavery manifests in your life. You've got big dreams, big things you want to accomplish, but you wake up in the morning and you're just doubting yourself, or you're feeling down or something like that, and you let that drive the way you behave for the day, and suddenly you didn't get anything done. This is why I say you will not get major things accomplished if your emotions are controlling you. If you can learn to master emotional control and see things clearly, this is literally a superpower, because most people can't do it. And you'll stop falling into all these traps that you normally fall into of making fearful decisions and panicking and making desperate decisions, or just not even taking action because you doubt yourself so much. You can see things clearly when you establish emotional control. The third thing that makes men weak is not following through. So what I mean by this is you set a goal and you don't follow through on it. You know, back in the day, people used to make a sacrifice when they were committing to doing something. They would sacrifice to God, or they would make a sacrifice to some king or something like that to show their seriousness about what they were saying. Some people would do the blood in the hand, right? They'd cut their hands with a knife to show seriousness to a commitment they had made and a decision they had made. And I'm not saying do that, but what I'm saying is it is understood that you should take your commitments and your decisions seriously. And we don't do this in the modern world. But what happens is if you make a decision and you don't follow through on it, you say, I'm going to go do this thing, and then you just keep violating your own decision, you just make yourself look like a fool. You don't take yourself serious. You look at yourself and say, well, I've said I was going to do this 100 times and I've never done it. Like, how many times have you probably quit something, and now do you feel great about yourself that you keep quitting it? Probably not. You know, they say a man has his word and his balls, and when it comes to women, we give our balls away, and when it comes to our word, we give it away because we don't actually follow through on the things we say. So nobody can trust what we say. Nobody can count on us to actually get a result, including ourselves, most importantly. So why would we have any self-respect or confidence? And this is what's gonna make you weak. The fourth thing that makes men weak is compulsions. This could be porn. This could be binge eating. This could be drinking too much. This could be checking your phone too much or procrastinating. Basically, anything that you lack self-control over that is also harmful to you is a compulsion. So you'll notice a pattern is starting to form here, gentlemen. Anything that you lack self-control over is probably going to cause weakness, and it's enslaving you. Think about it with women. I've already mentioned this, but if you can't control yourself towards women, you're going to do all these weak things. You're going to put yourself in positions that are going to hurt you. If you can't control your emotions, you're going to do foolish things and you're not going to be productive in life. Even with number 3, your ability to keep your word to yourself, that is a lack of self-control because you make a decision and don't follow through in it. And here right now is another time when you're lacking self-control over compulsions, and it's going to bite you in the ass if you can't control these things. This just really comes down to discipline, and basically everybody on the planet is battling a compulsion. So I'm not wanting you to sit here and say, like, I'm the biggest piece of shit on the planet just because I've got something I'm working on improving myself on. Everybody's working on improving themselves, but it is a fact that it is something that is limiting your ability to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. And basically, this is just a lack of discipline. If you cannot discipline yourself, then you can't get ahead in life. I really think if I had to pick one thing that is like the number one most important trait to achieving, it's got to be discipline. This is discipline over the actions you take and your mind, discipline over the thoughts that you think, the way you respond to circumstances. This is all about self-control and discipline. And if you cannot control your compulsions, you are not as strong of a man as you are capable of being. The fifth thing that makes men weak is seeking the approval of others. Now, I'm not talking about the type of approval where we're dealing with somebody that you really look up to, like a role model, and you want that person to see you in a favorable light. I'm not talking about that. I'm not even talking about wanting to be attractive to women, which is another form of approval seeking. That's like natural human behavior. Every man wants to be attractive to women. What I'm talking about is when you need other people to approve of the decisions you make more than you need yourself to approve of them. This is a lack of mental point of origin. This is you making other people more important than you. This is you thinking other people are more valuable than you. You are less than them. This is the guy that says whatever you want to eat when his girlfriend asks him, what do you want to do for dinner? He's approval seeking. He won't make a decision. He just wants her approval. So you pick what we're going to do. This is the man who's always justifying his actions because he doesn't feel secure within himself about the decisions that he's making. This is the man who has to brag about the fact that he just had sex because he needs other people to see him in a certain light. Every time you do this, you are draining yourself and you are putting other people on a pedestal. And also, this will never be enough. If right now you're getting approval from making $10,000 a month and driving a new car, well, what's next? It's just the bar always has to keep going up because you're looking for other people to tell you how good you are rather than just filling yourself up and making yourself the center and making decisions for your own satisfaction rather than the satisfaction of others. You must first be in approval of yourself rather than worrying about if other people approve of you. This means you're going to have to live on your purpose and go after the things that matter to you in life. It means you're going to have to live within your own moral compass, have integrity, all these kinds of things, because it's important for you to approve of yourself to actually have a sense of self-worth and self-esteem. Now guys, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment. Tell me which of these 5 things is something that you struggle with the most. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.